From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I am Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight: Israeli airstrikes persist in Gaza and southern Lebanon, despite a UN Security Council resolution passed this week urging an immediate ceasefire during Ramadan. In the last 24 hours, Israeli forces have killed 76 Palestinians and wounded 102 in Gaza. Palestinian civilians seeking aid have been targeted, with 2 severely wounded by Israeli snipers in Gaza City. Israeli forces are continuing their raid on Al-Shifa Hospital for a second week while carrying out a campaign of arrests of Palestinians in the area. An Israeli strike on the Bureish refugee camp killed at least 5 people. In Jenin, West Bank, 3 people were killed and 9 wounded by an Israeli drone. In South Lebanon, 7 people were killed when Israeli planes bombed an emergency medical center. Lebanon says it has lodged 22 complaints at the UN over Israel's attacks and violations since last October. At least 32,490 Palestinians have been killed and 74,889 wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7th. The death toll in Israel from Hamas's October 7th attack stands at 1,139, with dozens still held captive. Hamas is estimated to be holding more than 130 Israeli prisoners, while Tel Aviv is holding more than 9,100 Palestinians in its jails. Illegal Jewish settlements and industrial zones in the occupied West Bank are causing severe environmental issues and affecting the lives of Palestinians. Data from the Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics reveals that these settlements discharge more than 9 billion gallons of untreated wastewater annually into Palestinian territories. Italian NGO Ceasefe's research indicates that Israeli settlers produce double the solid waste compared to Palestinians, generating about 1,200 tons daily. The untreated wastewater destroys Palestinian agricultural lands, reducing grape cultivation areas significantly. Recent reports from the Norwegian Refugee Council highlight alarming levels of pollution, including coliform bacteria, high nitrate levels, E. coli, and heavy metals in water and soil samples. The Emmanuel Industrial Zone, an Israeli settlement, releases waste directly into agricultural land, contaminating large areas. This pollution triggers the growth of invasive species, worsening environmental degradation. Experts warn of heightened health risks and worsening environmental conditions, compounded by the projected impacts of climate change. Facebook's parent company, Meta, is facing pressure to end its restrictions on using the Arabic word Shaheed. Shaheed is one of the attributes of God in Islam. It also means a witness and a martyr. The company's oversight board is calling for an end to restrictions on the use of the word. Co-chair of the board, Helle Thorning-Schmidt, has criticized this policy as overly broad, impacting freedom of expression and civic discourse. Meta currently removes instances of the word Shaheed linked to individuals the company considers dangerous. Meanwhile, Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are accusing Meta of evading questions regarding censorship of Palestinian-related content amid Israel's ongoing war on Gaza. In a letter to Meta's CEO Mark Zuckerberg, Warren asked about how the company moderates content relating to the war, demanding transparency on post-removal statistics. An Imam in Maryland says he regrets unknowingly participating in an Interfaith Iftar event sponsored by the Israeli embassy. Imam Faisal Khan, representing the Islamic Society of the Washington area, reiterated his stance against activities that might endorse Israeli actions in Gaza. He highlighted the importance of genuine interfaith dialogue without whitewashing crimes against humanity. The Imam reaffirmed his solidarity with Palestinians, supporting their rights and the end of illegal Israeli occupation. The Ramadan fast-breaking event was co-organized by Anila Ali, who is known for conflicts with supporters of Palestinian rights. She was also a speaker during a pro-Israel rally in Washington, D.C. last November. California has allocated more than $1 million to strengthen security for mosques and synagogues across the state since October. This has been in response to heightened security threats to Muslim and Jewish Americans after the start of Israel's war on Gaza in October. California Governor Gavin Newsom had initiated a fund of $10 million to reimburse law enforcement for overtime costs across the state. These were incurred while officers provided security to religious institutions. Despite criticism and threats, a school in northern Italy is standing behind its decision to close for a day so its many Muslim students can mark the religious holiday Eid al-Fitr. Earlier, the Iqbal Masih school in Pioltello, near Milan, drew criticism and even far-right threats. This was after it decided to close to mark Eid al-Fitr, as its student body is 40% Muslim. The The Lombardy Regional School Office last week said the decision was irregular and urged it to rethink the move. Many Italian politicians also criticized the move, including Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini, who branded it unacceptable. The school on Tuesday said that it will stick with the decision and called for respect for a choice. Pakistani judges revolt against interference by intelligence agencies. Details after the break, so stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. 6 senior judges in Pakistan are accusing the country's military intelligence agency, the ISI, of interfering in judicial matters. In a letter to the Supreme Judicial Council, these judges of the Islamabad High Court allege secret surveillance, abduction, and torture of their family members. They are calling for an investigation into these allegations stemming from cases related to opposition leader Imran Khan, with over 100 cases brought before the Islamabad High Court. The move follows a recent Supreme Court ruling declaring illegal the removal of a former judge who accused the ISI of meddling in judicial decisions. Chief Justice Qazi Faiz Isa has called a meeting of all Supreme Court judges to discuss the matter. Pakistan's Supreme Judicial Council is a judicial watchdog that consists of the country's Chief Justice and 4 other top judges, 2 each from the Supreme Court and High Courts. Black carbon, commonly known as soot, contributes significantly to both global warming and health issues. In a recent interview with Anadolu news agency, Burj Onat, a lecturer in the Environmental Engineering Department at Istanbul University, warned that unlike greenhouse gases, black carbon affects climate dynamics in many ways. It reduces surface reflectivity of snow and ice and changes cloud properties. In 2019 alone, nearly 5.8 million tons were emitted globally, with household energy consumption accounting for 43%. Onat emphasizes its adverse health effects, particularly on respiratory health, urging precautionary measures. She recommends using black carbon capture filters and transitioning to rail systems and electric vehicles to mitigate its harmful effects. Monitoring black carbon concentrations in cities is vital, with levels averaging between 5 and 20 micrograms per cubic meter. Onat warns that the black carbon also has a role in heating the Earth's surface. She said a contaminated snow surface with black carbon reduces reflectivity and it absorbs more sunlight, causing more heat. Weeks before former President Donald Trump's April 15th hush money trial, a judge in New York has imposed a gag order on him. Trump is barred from publicly attacking witnesses, jurors, and others involved. Judge Juan Merchan's order does allow Trump to criticize the judge and Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. However, it forbids him from making comments intended to interfere with the case. Merchan cited Trump's previous extrajudicial statements as risking the administration of justice. Trump has a history of attacking those involved in his legal matters. He has labeled judges Trump haters and called prosecutors corrupt. Former Representative Liz Cheney criticized former President Donald Trump's initiative to sell Bibles, suggesting he read the verse on adultery. Cheney took to social media advising Trump to purchase and read a Bible instead of selling them. She specifically referenced a verse which prohibits adultery. Trump, in partnership with Lee Greenwood, launched the God Bless USA Bibles ahead of Easter. He emphasized the importance of religion, stating that every American should have a Bible. Trump lamented the absence of religion in the country, attributing it to societal issues. The $60 King James Bible includes patriotic elements like lyrics from God Bless the USA and national documents. Activist groups are urging Pentagon leaders to stay away from creating killer robots. In a letter to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks, watchdog group Public Citizen told the Pentagon to explicitly state that the Replicator initiative would not involve the creation of autonomous weapon systems or killer robots. Hicks announced the Replicator initiative in August. It aims to quickly develop and field low-cost air, land, or sea drones that could swarm an enemy. Public Citizen has raised concerns over Hicks' remarks on the necessity of developing all domain, including autonomous weapons. Emphasizing the ethical issues, the coalition asserted that autonomous weapons will dehumanize warfare. NBC News has decided to remove Ronna McDaniel just days after hiring her as a paid political analyst. This follows backlash from the network's top anchors over the former Republican National Committee chair's involvement in disputing the 2020 election results, as well as her attacks on the press. In a memo, NBC Universal News Group President Cesar Conde wrote that McDaniel will not serve as an NBC News contributor due to legitimate concerns raised by staff. He took responsibility for the decision and apologized for any disappointment caused by her hiring. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Muslim Network TV invites you to join us for our Ramadan Telethon 2024, taking place on Saturday, April 6th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time. So stay tuned. This Ramadan, your support is needed more than ever to continue our mission of providing informative, educational, and inspiring content to Muslims in North America and around the world. Donate now by calling 1-800-432-4262. You can also use the Zelle app for easy payments by sending to info@soundvision.com or visit muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Salam and good night.